Shalom from Jerusalem. Feast of Trumpets is near. People around celebrating, rejoicing, dancing. It's a beautiful and special time for families to come together. But we study the Bible. What is the mystery of this feast? Because in all the other scriptures, we have explanation for the feasts, but not that one. And name of the feast, as we've been reading before, is Zichron Truah. Remember the sound of trumpet or shofar. It says, remember the sound of trumpet. So let's read the Bible. What should they remember and what happened before God gave such a feast to the people of Israel? Let's go to book of Exodus 19, verse 16. We see people of Israel, they came out of Egypt. God gave them 10 commandments, give them all the instructions, and now God is giving them feasts and explaining them feasts. So what is written here? And it came to pass on the third day, when it was morning, that there were thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud upon the mountain, and the voice of a trumpet exceeding loud. What the event! Glory of God come down, the thunders, the sounds, and it says very loud sound of trumpet. And next verse it says, and all the people were in the camp, they were trembled. Can you imagine? It was so loud sound of shofar out there in the mountain. They were in the camp, it was in the mountain. It was so loud, everyone trembled from this scene. And after that, God is saying to the people of Israel, you shall remember sound of trumpet. You shall remember. Of course, it was clear to the people of Israel. Yes, that's what we need to remember. The holy moment, the gift of the 10 commandments, the gift of God, the glory of God, the power manifestation of God. That's what we shall remember on the Feast of Trumpets. There is more messages. There is more teachings God given us on the Feast of Trumpets, but that's the basic one, that's the central one. Remember your experience in the desert on the Mount of Sinai, when the glory of God came down. God Himself touched down the mountain. And now we see most interesting part. 19 says, and when the voice of the trumpet waxed louder and louder, it was growing sound, louder and louder. Moses spoke and God answered him by a voice. So in that moment, the people of Israel, they have heard voice of God Himself speaking to Moses. Verse 20 says, and Jehovah come down. Can you imagine? Jehovah come down upon the Sinai, Mount of Sinai, to the top of the mount. And Jehovah, called Moses to the top of the mountain, and Moses went up. That's what people of Israel shall remember, the visitation of God and loud voice of shofar, loud voice of the trumpet. And when we speak about Feast of Trumpets, when we speak about trumpets, we speak about voice of God, speaking to people. God is visiting His people. That's a beautiful feast, and we're going to unveil even more messages and mysteries of this beautiful feast and how this feast is important for us even today.